Hello and welcome to BrantFurred Interviews. My name is Foxin. For our very first in-person interview, I am very much delighted to have Kyle Lambert, also known as Kyle Klace Hesk, along with Ryo. Am I saying that right?
Finally, for once, someone does.
We have Ryo, Shock,
Hello.
Kabu, and Acheron. I found out yesterday that was the correct pronunciation, not Acheron.
No.
They're all characters in the visual novel Major Minor, available now on PC through Steam. Guys, thank you for joining me and welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pleasure to be here.
Okay, yeah, gotta edit that. Filming of this takes place during the 7th annual Fernal Equinox, a furry convention in Toronto, Ontario. How are you all enjoying the con?
Good.
Great so far.
It's fabulous. I've thoroughly enjoyed myself.
Okay. Klace, you created the game. Why don't you describe a little bit of it for us?
Well, Major Minor is a visual novel. As you said, it's available on Steam. It's basically a little story about these two worlds that are connected yet not connected, kind of struggling to coexist with one another and their struggle for survival. The story centers around the protagonist who learns that he's the savior. He has the potential to save both of these worlds, or I guess depending on your choices, destroy them. So I was inspired by a lot of my favorite video games and anime, and I wanted to make it so that, well, at a first glance it's a very furry game, but there's enough little inspirations from Japan, otaku culture, anime, and video games that anyone who's somewhat into those will find elements that they're comfortable with, and they'll be able to look past the fact that it's a furry game. And it's been very successful in that regard. I have many messages from non-furries who like the story and the characters, which is what I wanted to do, create a game that stood on merits other than the fact that it's the first furry game on Steam.
Oh, that's actually really cool. You mentioned that you're inspired by anime and video games. Any specific ones?
Oh yeah, my favorite video games are Tales of Symphonia, Steins Gate. I really liked every Final Fantasy. Not totally inspired by this one, but my number one game is Shadow of the Colossus.
Oh.
And as far as animes are concerned, definitely Mirai Nikki or Future Diary, Death Note, and, well, Steins Gate, but that's also a visual novel, so...
Yeah. Why did you choose to make it a visual novel as opposed to a traditional, platform game or any other RPG?
I think that, well, there's a couple of reasons why. The number one reason is that I've never made a game before. I didn't want to bite off more than I could chew. I've seen a lot of projects from people who, got a little more optimistic than what they could handle, and they eventually fell through. But no, this is something I knew I could do, and I don't announce a feature or put something in that I'm not confident I'll be able to see through to the end.
That's smart.
And another reason why is it's just one of my favorite genres. You can cut out a lot of the useless game mechanics that kind of cut down other games or take away from the experience and focus just on the story. I find a lot of games nowadays have these features just to have them, and it can take away from the experience, but this one's just pure story, which is what I think is the most important aspect in a video game.
A lot of authors try to tell stories that have a personal meaning to them. So why is telling this story important to you?
Well, there's two answers here. One's a real downer, so I'll get that one out of the way first, and the other one's a little more happy. The story deals a lot with grief and loss, especially with those close to you. And I am in a situation personally where I might be victim to loss, especially with some family members. And I thought it was really cool to study the process of grief and get into the head of people who are suffering losses and figure out how they react to it, and maybe steel myself for when it happens to me.
Oh.
It was really cool to get into the psychological aspect of that. But the happy reason is I've really never seen a game of this genre that was clean from the furry fandom, let alone one that is so widely available as a network as Steam. So I wanted to kind of, I guess, tread new ground for the fandom and kind of get it out there.
That's really cool.
To a place that I've never seen this get to before.
What were some of the biggest hurdles you had to overcome when making this game? Or visual novel, I guess.
The biggest hurdle would be the amount of characters in the game. As I planned the story and filled the roles using the crowdfunding process, I realized that this story I want to tell is too big for the amount of characters that I brought on board. And so I brought on a second wave of characters, which Kabu is one of, to have a cameo role to help advance the story in a really small way. But even then, the story became more complex just because of that. It was a constant give and take of the story I want to tell, but limited to the assets that I actually have. And I actually decided to upgrade the cameo roles to full secondary characters because the plot line I had them in was just too much to go through in the one chapter I wanted to put it in.
It's amazing how some things can just take off without you even realizing it. As we all know, the furry fandom doesn't mince words when it comes to personal opinions. In your experience, how has the novel been received by the public?
Well, I think it's been received really well. We're sitting at just about to reach an 80% user review score on Steam with about 300 reviews. We've sold, it's in the library of about 6,200 users.
Oh, wow.
And it's even being enjoyed by those who don't identify as a furry, which was one of my main goals behind telling the story to begin with.
Nice. So you would say you feel encouraged by the comments you've received so far?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, there's definitely a subset of people who don't like the game, or the people involved in the game, and there's an even smaller minority in that subset that actually gave constructive criticism to help me improve. And when I took that criticism and used it to make the game better, and you watch some of those negative reviews and outlooks change to positive ones, that just encourages me even more. Because I'm definitely getting as much as I'm putting into it, and it's getting more and more lately.
That's always great to hear. I gotta ask you, many people are surprised that you would include your own character into the game interactively. Do you think this move was a little narcissistic?
I think that some furries think that a fursona is actually someone. I think that Klace is a character I've made. If it was a narcissistic move, I think that I would have put Kyle Lambert in the game.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
There's definitely a disconnect between myself and the character that I think maybe isn't apparent with every furry out there. And I don't want to spoil too much, but Klace doesn't even appear in the game, actually. He's only mentioned by other characters. And to say that I'm narcissistic for such a small role when everyone else has at least 100 times more exposure would be calling them narcissistic too, and I just can't believe that to be true.
That's a good answer. That's a really good answer. You've acquired a number of other people's actual characters and personas and incorporated them into the story. What made you decide to do this?
Mostly funding. The art assets don't come cheap, especially of the quality that I envisioned for the game. And I didn't expect the slots to fill up as quickly as they did. So I was not expecting the game to get off the ground for several months when there was just such an interest that we filled up in 1 or 2 days.
Oh, wow. So it wasn't very difficult finding volunteers.
No, it wasn't.
How much creative input do you allow the owners of these characters? Do they get to decide how their character acts in the novel, or do you just dictate all their actions?
I had planned out the story months in advance. When I was taking the volunteers for their characters, they were filling a role that I had set out for them, but what was up to them was their personality, which I think is more important. So while they were filling a set role like a security guard, a rock star, someone who wants to oust a corrupt politician, I think it's more important the way they go about it, and getting a write-up on their personality is what helped me shape the characters.
That's really cool. Okay, so we've touched on other characters, so why don't we ask some of those characters these questions. What do you all think of the novel so far? And just completely ignore that he's in the room.
Cover your ears. Actually, I've thoroughly enjoyed the game. Kyle's writing has been absolutely amazing, at least in my eyes. I know when I sent him Shock's personality, I really didn't know what to expect at first, and I had to wait a couple chapters to see. But once I started seeing how he was writing Shock, it was perfect to me. The way certain scenes happened throughout the novel so far, it has been exactly how I would react. Like, while Klace was saying that Kyle and Klace, he's more of a disconnect, I can say the same thing for myself and Shock, but at the same time, I've based Shock's personality on my own and my own experiences. So it's just been... I'm been at a loss for words so far, and I'm always waiting to see what's next.
It's a good time. I want to say that I like the story so far, When I was... sorry. I want to say that I like the story so far. To me, like, basically in any game or any book or any movie, the story is obviously what's going to capture me the most,
Of course.
It's less so the art assets of the game. It's less so sometimes the character, but more sometimes just the background, sometimes the premise of the entire setting that basically captivates me. And it took a while so far for my character to be entered, just in Chapter 4. But in my opinion, it wasn't really, I wasn't looking forward to that so much. Like, a lot of people would say, sometimes based on the reviews, a lot of these people are just, in it for just the furry art, the furry characters, the background, and, all that kind of stuff. And I'm just like, it's nice, but it's not the entire thing for me. Basically, story is everything I look forward to, everything I like to try and see a plot here, decide, see where it goes, and the fact that you can choose your own path throughout the entire story is just what captivates me.
Awesome. That was Acheron. How about you, Ryan?
What can I say? I'm the first one who pops in the game. I gotta say, when I first saw that, I was pretty excited. Here's me popping up in front of everyone, and I don't know what to expect. See some pretty weird things, mysterious, enigmatic, and I enjoy every time. Every time I see myself, get excited. Every time I see these people, I get excited. Every time they continue stories, or the story continues, I just get more excited. I'm a person who enjoys stories in general, so every time he releases a new chapter, I'm always telling him, can I go early? Can I try early? That's how ecstatic I get over the game.
Can I just mention, adding on to that Thursday night he was in our hotel room playing Major Minor.
Thursday night, the night before the convention started.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to know what happens next with my character, and I'm very anti-spoiler, so no one knows what's going to happen to their character or where the story is going to go.
No matter how much you beg.
I'll admit that I've tried.
I think it's better that way, because if they knew, they wouldn't get the same enjoyment as they would have by experiencing it at the same time as the rest of the world.
What about you, Kabu? How do you like it so far?
I've made priceless memories I can never get from another situation like this. I've made some amazing friends through the process of it, and a little higher up already. Sorry, I've made some amazing friends through this process, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I can't even express how much fun this has been. Like, when I first saw it pop up, I'm like, hey, look at somebody's gonna make their dream come true. They want to take a graphic novel or just writing they've loved, thoroughly enjoyed, and he's even mentioned before he wants to do writing as his career, and like so many other authors and writers, they do that, and he's taken it to another step, to another level, and put it into a graphic format online where multiple people, millions possibly, could even see it. And the fact that it's an interactive version just makes me even happier. And as it goes for my character, though, all I know besides me trying to expose a corrupt politician, Klace has something up his sleeve for Kaylin and myself. Kaylin's not here at the moment. But so we're both really locked in jail. But otherwise, otherwise something's going to happen, and I'm ecstatic for it. I wouldn't change anything for it. I would not be here right now at Fernal Equinox 2016 if it was not for Klace posting this information. Hey, you interested in jumping into a game? Hands down I was. I jumped on that right away because I thought it was something that was going to explode and be something thoroughly enjoyable, and I can make some awesome friends along the way. And look where we are now.
Yeah.
The community has definitely been really great as well, especially once Klace released a moddable version. And he even released a guide on how to mod it.
Oh, that's even better.
So just the things that have come out of that, it shows that the community is really enjoying the game and that they can actually put their own input into it as well.
Billy Mays here. Welcome to the Ark.
Yes.
One thing that Kabu mentioned was that his character is in prison right now, and that's one of the reasons why I announced very quickly that I was upgrading these characters to be more important, because if I didn't say that to him, he'd have 5 lines of dialogue and get thrown in jail.
But it's like how Klace was mentioned before, personality-wise, because at that point when it was just first right up there, they didn't really know me. They've never talked to me too much until, like a couple weeks later, we actually started to video chat together and Skype and actually message, and we'd see each other's pages a lot more. And how I look at Facebook is that's a good way to tell people's personalities and get more in-depth information about them, about what they love and their passions. So it made me really happy to see that and interact with everybody a lot more. And it was priceless. And like I said, I can never get memories like that. So
that's great. It's great that Klace was able to understand that you're the type of person who says more than just 5 things and it gets thrown in jail.
Yeah. It was some heavy things though too as well. When you're trying to expose a politician, normally at that point it's just like zip the lips and gone.
I like that one of the several players have pointed out that the politician reminds them of Donald Trump. And I believe Shock modded the Donald Trump hair on him.
I could easily just send you guys that photo.
I want to see that.
Yeah.
No, I might already know the answer to this question. What do each of you know about your character in the novel, and how much of that character would you say is you, and how much of it is Klace's vision?
Since I don't really have too much info at the moment about myself, I might as well just jump in there. It's gonna be good. It's basically I wrote down my personality type, what I talk about. He looked over normally what I speak like and threw it all in there and kind of threw my personality in with his twist. So, and I'm content and very happy with that.
Very nice. How about we ask Akaram?
I think. As you already know, my character's a security guard in the game, you know.
I knew that. I don't know if the listeners knew that.
Currently, right now, he's, as far as Chapter 4 is concerned, he's already tasked with basically protecting the group, including Daz, the new cast singer. Basically, his past, which is currently undisclosed in detail, shows basically how his experiences makes him stronger and how he's able to deal with the repercussions of possible actions.
Very nice.
So, as we see his character, you see like this basically hardened person who's basically taking his job like seriously, you know.
He's a seasoned veteran.
Essentially, yes.
Out of his class.
But I would say between myself and what Klace had in mind for it, I would say the character attitude is very much like my own. You know, basically serious when you need to be. You know, but kind of relaxed, but always vigilant of basically anything that could possibly happen.
Oh, that's very cool. Ryo, how much of the character in the game is like you?
More than I can actually say for sure.
One thing I noticed early with that is your little code writing you do. We were sitting there for dinner. He was writing all these code and information. I was like, "What's going on here?" I couldn't understand it. And it's just the same. It's that mystery behind it. And
At times it can be predictable. At times I can't.
Yeah.
In terms of just being like me, or if it was any closer to me, yes. Ryo and I are pretty much the same person. Despite what they said, for me, I created Ryo basically on who I am. So who Ryo's past is my past. Just a little more exciting than mine, of course. But in terms of Kyle's vision, I think Kyle made it more closer to who I am than I really expected. As to how he knew, maybe he didn't, but sometimes it's just like he has things in his mind that none of us can figure out.
We go way back, me and Ryo.
Kinda,
And I still don't know everything about him, so it kind of came off that way in the game to the player.
me and Kyle have known each other for quite a long time now, and basically he knew exactly what to make Ryo of, in a way. Just without even asking, really. He knew what to make of Ryo. And people are always asking, what is the man in the arc up to? Truth is, I don't even know myself. That's how much of a mystery I am.
It's nice. And Shock, will go to you.
Well, easy way to describe it right now, for anyone who has and anyone who hasn't played the game yet, Shock is a jerk. Flat out, he's a jerk. There is a story as to why he is that will be found out later on. But as it stands right now, he's just a jerk. With the situation he's in right now, like I was explaining earlier, it would be the exact same way that I would react. So
you're a jerk?
I can be. Believe it or not, I can be. But the difference is with Shock, I always made him a bit more outgoing. So he's a bit more hot-headed, more cocky. But in the, Shock, I hate to say this because of memes, but he can be triggered. But with me, I know it takes a lot more for me to be. But I find what I can't do, I express through Shock. So, and Kyle has really captured that. The Shock version, not me, because I'm more laid back.
Well, he's in some pretty stressing circumstances, though.
Yes, very, very
Straight to the anger phase.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Are we allowed to disclose the expired?
It's really up to you at this
It's
point.
I would
up to you.
assume a lot of the listeners have played already, but
Yeah.
spoiler warning. Needless to say.
A spoiler.
So up to the current part, basically, what happened is Shock is taking Klace's death very hard, just because of their past together. No, they're not together, but I can see people shipping it anyways. But I guess while they're not together, they were very close friends. So Shock is really going through the stages of grief, and right now he's more in the anger stage. So as he progresses through, the more fun side, I believe, should come out. But easiest way to describe it, I can say with me as well, Shock's a shit disturber. So am I. So, but yeah, like I said, he's captured Shock perfectly in my eyes so far, and I can't wait to see more.
It's awesome. I can practically hear the internet getting out their Wacom tablets now.
Yes, triggered.
Shit.
Oh god, the fanfics.
And soon the fan mods.
Yes. I didn't even think of that.
So what made you all want to get involved with this project? I have to imagine just seeing your character in a video game is pretty cool. But is there anything more to it than that?
I've had a lot of people come up to me, oh, you just wanted to be in the game to be famous. Whereas that is not a true statement at all. I did this to support a friend. So...
How far back do you guys go?
I first met Kyle at AC 2014.
Oh, nice.
And found out that him and I actually grew up in the same town, same city.
Oh.
So that really instantly made me trust him. And I'm like, someone else knows my pain.
Just instinctively.
So, yeah, he roomed with us at AC 2014, and I never had a problem with them. Because I do actually have trust issues. So if you get my trust right away, it's a good thing.
Very nice.
So Kyle instantly made a good impression. And
I don't know how.
Yeah. He was very shy at first, just because I believe you were last minute addition to our room.
Yeah.
Yeah. Saying, hey, does anyone have a room open? And sure enough, we had a spot, so. After that, things just kind of went. And we stayed in touch after the con, and yeah, so it's been almost 3 years now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Getting back to the original question, what made the rest of you want to get involved with the visual novel?
Basically, I saw it as, I think, hey, this could be cool, Could honestly, my character be featured in a game, being able to play it and see my own character in it, hey, that's cool,
Nice.
But I've also seen a lot of the, basically a whole lot of the hate posts and all that, a lot of the reviews for the game being, centered at, thinking of Klace as, a self-centered type of person, and I don't want to try and read the reviews of a game before I play it. I kind of want to see it for myself.
Mm-hmm.
So by buying the game myself, and just playing through the chapters in which my character wasn't even in it yet, I was pretty much already hooked for it at that point. Story was interesting enough. The artwork added to that too as well, but I feel like I made a good decision in helping support this game.
Yeah, the artwork, I must say, is amazing in the game. Who's the artist for the characters?
Shiva Cheshire.
She goes by Shiva Cheshire on Facebook, but for affinity is Pawsy Clausy. PAWZICLAWZI.
There you go, everyone.
Yeah.
Advertising. She's the best.
She is an amazing artist.
Kabu?
Oh goodness, already. What made me want to get involved with the Klace is the fact that he took something that he passionately loves, like writing. I love to write, but I stopped. Don't know why, not going to explain, but I saw someone who wanted to go out there, take his ambitions out there, and he wanted to make his dreams come true, like I mentioned before. He took something that he loves and made it into real graphic novel format, just like any other artist he took it to another format, just like any other artist who writes comics or graphic novels. He took another step forward and put it into an online interactive graphic novel that he can change in formats in so many more ways and progress into a multiple of series if he truly wished. He's doing what most others won't necessarily do with their writing. He's putting it out there, taking a chance and getting messy. It's brilliant, and I thoroughly like what he's doing. It's beautiful. It really is, and I'm very happy to be a part of this, and I would love to be part of this again. And he just wants to be a writer. It's gonna be great.
Nice.
Let writers write.
Yeah, love it for the story and the passion he puts into it, and for his progression. It's going to get even better than what it originally has been now. You can even see from the very beginning of it, from the writing style to the transitioning of it, it's gotten more in depth and more in depth. And yeah, there's going to be a few hiccups here and there as you go, but it's just going to get more in depth. I'm just repeating myself. All I can say is that it's going to get better as it goes, and I really hope to see more chapters and more different spin-offs of it with other different series blending in together, because it's going to be such an immersive world, and you have years to go with it. You have so much time, and with technology that we got now, you're going to have fun with it, and I hope you still do have fun with it, Klace.
A writer's work is never done.
Exactly.
Unfortunately. I work a lot on the game. as I wrote more and more, I guess, I fine-tuned my writing ability so that the earlier chapters and the current chapters, there was not a big gap in quality, but you could tell that the quality of the writing increased. So what I did was I actually went back and I rewrote, like, at the time, half the game to better reflect my current ability. And a lot of people didn't like that for some reason. There were some people who said that you're just admitting your game's not finished or that it's not good to begin with. And what I think is that I'm such a small studio that I actually have the time to go back and change things. And a smaller studio has a lot more leeway with what they can change. Like, we can work with Foxin to try and crowdfund an hour of orchestral music just because we're such a small studio that we didn't tie ourselves down to anything to begin with. And I think that leeway shouldn't be confused with the lack of a finished product or the lack of a polished game.
I'm going to interject there again as well to listeners and people who really don't approve or have the negative things to say. The fact that he's doing something and bringing that out there, you should have nothing negative to say about that if someone's making their dreams come true with that. It's referencing back to what a passion and love. So what's the deal with that? Well, why can't people express what they truly love and let others enjoy it with them? Yeah, like he was saying, you can always go back and change things and modify things and make them better. There really should be no hate towards that, and it's quite rude, in my opinion, on that. For someone on the outside watching this who's not immersed in it as much as I could be, to see all these people come crashing down on one person who's trying to do something awesome that they love themselves, and that other people are starting to get involved with, and all these people just come bombarding in and just be like, bang, 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 what about this, what about that? It's just, it's not appealing at all. And at that point, and I don't think Klace is that first, we all notice that it hurts. It truly does hurt, and you kind of get a little defensive at first. We all do. But then now you realize those people are not worth your time and effort. It's the people and the fans and the people who truly love it who this is catering to. And it's just going to get better as it goes. So all the people out there who just really don't approve of it or having the hate on it, smarten up.
Yeah.
I think everyone's used to the big video game studios that don't have the time to go back and change things, and they'll release a full product that's not finished, and then they'll fine-tune the efforts and release a definitive edition to get more money. But the thing is that I have the time to both continue the game while retroactively editing previous content and not having to worry about it afterwards.
Very nice.
Yeah.
There's no season pass.
And just real quickly, would you all work with Klace
Hold
again?
on.
Oh.
To continue where I was.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, Ray. I never actually asked you what made you want to get involved in the game.
Well, to be honest, it kind of starts. I can't exactly say right now for sure. I have to explain one thing. Before I do explain why I joined the game, I need to let you guys know that I will never call this guy Klace ever. Sometimes I will, but I'll never call him Klace.
Corrects himself immediately.
Yeah.
The reason for that is because so many people look at him as just Klace, some egotistical guy who wants to make a game and make it better about himself. People think that's Klace, but they don't know Kyle.
No.
A lot of people here at Epi didn't know Kyle until I met him. They just knew Klace.
No, I have to say that I was one of those people. I didn't even really think of it that way. So in that case, I have to owe you an apology, Klace. Or should I say Kyle?
You're not the only one. My fiance actually said the exact same thing.
Yeah.
He said, just from what I heard before I met you, I wasn't even sure about you being in our room just because he thought he was going to be egotistical, arrogant, and all that. And then he said, sorry. Just like after I hung out with you, I realized, wow, you're actually a normal person.
I met Kyle about 3 years ago when I became a furry. He came shortly after as a bunny.
Oh, the bunny stories.
Got to know Kyle for quite a good time. I mean, next then 2014 came. Ryo became made, created based on two inspirations that came, and me and him fought over some streamer canine. But as for the game, I've known Kyle for a long time, and I've seen him progress. People get to know him more, and he became more out there. And for me, I was always on the sidelines watching it. Saw him on statuses, saw him online talking. I never really appeared. I was always in the shadows. me, I'm the type of person who doesn't like getting attention in a way, so for me to go out there, it was scary. But then I noticed over time, the more Kyle grew out there, the more people started to hate on him, the more people started to see him as some awful person. And for me, so many times I wanted to jump out there and tell them, no, you're wrong, this is not Kyle. I know him inside and out, but I never did. Then months later, over a year later, Kyle starts making this game, telling people he's going to make one. He makes statuses saying his cameo's out, and he was just about to close it. And I just decided at that moment, you know what, I'm just going to ask. I have yet to support him, so I asked him if I can join the game. I don't know if he was happy or excited, but right away he says, hurry up and get it. I just opened right now. Just get it right now. So I did, and I'm proud of it. Ever since that day, I decided to start being out there for Kyle. Defending him, anything, just showing people that Kyle is not the type of person I think he is. He's not Klace, he's Kyle. He's an amazing person who has dreams to succumb to. He has so many people, and people don't seem to realize that. They're just more focused on some popular who decides to make a game, and the truth is that's not even close to what Kyle is. Kyle is more than what you may see or realize. Just look beyond what you think. There's so many people here again at the fandom, or even just at the con itself, who apologized to Kyle, like they said, because they thought he was what everyone else was saying he was, who Curious Keel was saying. I won't say any more names, but I'm just saying basically, in general, so many people have hated on Kyle and people have joined. They never got a chance to see what he's really like. That is why I joined the game, to help my friend out who I haven't done before. Something I should have done a long time ago.
No, it's very nice.
To add on to that really fast, Kyle actually came to me.
Oh, really?
As well. I distinctly remember getting the Facebook message with him pretty much, what's the word I'm looking for, you know, when you, like when a movie wants to be produced and they go to the producers and see if they'll do it. I can't remember the word.
A pitch?
Yeah. It was basically a pitch. He told me, hey, I'm making this game, this is what it's going to be about. And like I said, I wanted to support him, so I was like, yeah, sure, why not? And I'll admit, from when he originally sent me that message, I was like, wait, what? Because it was just out of nowhere. And I know him, it took me, 2 hours to answer you?
Yeah.
And then, yeah, he's going to be, if not already, he's a great writer. And I wanted to support that.
Very nice.
And wanted to make sure that he's doing what he loved. Because I know I've done a few things where it's like, I love doing this, but it's always excuses. I don't have the time. I don't do this. So I'm so happy that he's putting his mind to it, and he's making this his career.
You all sound like you've really grown to be friends, not just with Kyle, but with each other.
I can agree with that. I've never knew any of these guys beforehand. I live across the country from them, so the fact that when I saw posts of Major Minor being put up there in promos beforehand, and I saw a mixture of, like you said, like Ray was saying, there was slander here, there was like, no, he's a great person. I'm like, good. I'm one of the people who's like, especially on the internet, never believed bullshit. First off, excuse my language, sorry, profanity.
Don't worry about it. We swear all the time.
Like this is someone who's never who I thoroughly don't believe in the bull crap straight out.
Just still censor yourself.
He's a very polite otter.
And then I saw this, and I saw his couple posts. I checked out his Facebook, of course, and scrolled around through. And I'm like, he's a pretty chill fellow. Like all these, like they were saying, he's not pompous, he's not arrogant, he's not this and that. He's just someone who's dedicated to his work and wants to bring it out there. Like how many thousands of people write fanfics but don't even bother submitting or do something with it? I thought that was like, no, there's someone there who's smart, sensitive, kind, that just wants to go out and have some fun. And look where it's led. Mm-hmm. It's led to me making a great friend, me making some other friends that I thought I would never meet. And yeah, I want to keep up with this. And
Major Minor, our group, I'd have to say it's not really friends anymore. It's really starting to become a family.
Yeah.
Aww.
Like, we trust each other. If there's any problems that come up, we come to each other for help. Like, we've all become really close. Even if it's not a character in a game, like, we have Shiva as well, who is an amazing artist. And if we've ever had any requests, like, I know me, I'm indecisive as hell. So I worked with Kyle and Shiva because with Shock's design, we originally had glow sticks on them. And then I realized I don't want the glow sticks. So I couldn't decide between. So we actually had 3 different versions of Shock made.
There was a bling version.
Yeah, there's a bling version with my big gold chain around his chest, and then there's the one which is in the game now, which I finally decided on, which was just nothing.
Still closed though.
Still close. Yes, still close.
100% a coat for sure.
Yes, it's a red dress shirt, and it's very simple. So I just felt like it was too much to have like glow sticks or something like that.
It just wasn't you.
Exactly. And it really felt nice to be able to work with them that closely and not have any backlash per se. They were very understanding. It's like, yeah, I understand, it's your character. So
I guess that goes back to the other question about how much control they had.
yeah.
They were kept in the loop for a lot of the work in progress of their character, for any changes they wanted, but the art was so great that any problems were minimal, like drop the gold bling or remove the glow sticks.
Yeah.
And I don't think there was any issues. I had nothing to complain about.
Even though you're wearing just rags.
Just rags. I was more than ecstatic for it because everything was done beautifully.
Yeah.
Very nice. All right, so we're going to wrap things up here with just a few last questions. Currently, there's, 4 chapters now as of this recording? The 4th one just came out, right?
Just about a week and a half ago.
Okay. When can we look forward to Chapter 5?
Chapter 5 will be hopefully sometime in April. I can't say for sure because I'm waiting on alternate expressions for the characters to change as they talk, and once those are finished, the development time of the chapters is going to increase a little more. I was on a monthly basis beforehand, but when those are done, it might take a little bit longer. But I'm still hoping April or very early May.
Very nice. Do you have any other projects in mind?
Yeah, I'm working on one other game through Patreon support. Actually, I have Ryo and Acheron returning for that game. That one's going to be a little more adult-oriented.
Oh.
Yeah.
And with, like, my plate's full with that, so I've looked to help other independent developers. I am working with this little studio in the UK that's making an action RPG. I just posted the announcement this morning. I'm helping their Kickstarter and their Greenlight process to help them get them off the ground.
Oh, very nice.
So, like, my plate's full, but I'm trying to help others get off the ground as well.
What's the name for that project?
Our Lenora.
There you heard it. With the game we're talking about today is Major Minor, and if you want to try this game, there'll be a link to the Steam page to download it. I want to thank you all for joining me today, and I wish you luck in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have fun at the convention, guys.
We will indeed.
I gotta say one thing though.
Have some
You're
fun.
not done recording yet. Kind of on my mind, but I have to say this. Basically, many people don't seem to realize about this game is that it's much more than just us being characters. It's more than us just being friends. This game's boxing us closer than many can actually realize. And what bothers me the most is how people can want to destroy this. How people can destroy something that became really close. I mean, all of us, more than friends, some more than others, some just buddies. And there are people out there who just want to get rid of that. And some for their own ambitions, some just for the hell of it. To those who are out there to do that, please just stop. You're not only taking down a game, you're taking down a family, or a bunch of people who are working hard to see this through. Even fans who are willing to do this, and pretty sure he won't listen or not, but for people who are out there, please just let us continue what we're doing here. He's doing as best as he can. He's also fixing mistakes he made, and people need to acknowledge that.
I'm only one man.
Yes. Not only is Kyle doing the writing, he's also doing all the programming as well. So,
Very nice.
very busy.
So basically, please just let us keep doing what we're doing, because it's really getting us pretty far, more than you may realize. There's a lot more that happens behind the scenes, and it does in public.
Yes.
Yes, what Gabu just said. I've had personally a few people that have come to me and said, "Oh, why is this, this, and this, and this?" And they haven't even played the game. So it's like, that's my first question. I'm like, "Have you played the game?" No. Then shut up. Play it and then come to me.
Read the graphic novel for yourself before you make an assumption.
Yeah.
Don't go based on what other people say. Please do
Yeah.
not do that at all.
Please not the internet. The internet is full of people who just want to be keyboard warriors.
Don't consult 4chan.
Yes. Or Reddit.
If that's your source of information, you should probably reevaluate your sources of information.
Yeah.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Well, that's going to wrap up this interview. I'm Foxin, and I want to thank you all again for joining me.